It's been said that nothing we love is really lost. Not really. Things, people, they always go away sooner or later. We can't hold them any more than we could hold a beam of moonlight or sunlight. But if they've touched us, if they're inside us, then they're still with us. The only things you ever really have, the only things you really have, are the ones you hold inside your heart, in our hearts. And Rotarians, the hearts and lives were touched by many, by George and Harold, and they are still with us. God bless George and Harold.
As they say on the internet, your presentation will commence after just a moment of advertising first. Those of you in the center can see a library champion lives here. I have to carry that with me everywhere I go. Thanks, Julie, for your generous introduction. Now I know why I gave you the job. And thanks also to President Randy, who I understand in 2 short weeks has already become one of the best presidents this club has ever had. It's nice to look out and see so many friends in the audience. I know a lot of you from my years in Rotary, of course, but I also recognize many of you as users of the library. I keep a little dossier in my office of everybody who checks out books from the library, with a little help from my friends at Google and the National Security Agency. Believe me, I can be trusted with your secrets, and I'll do my best to keep them out of the hands of WikiLeaks. I have the best job in the world. I'll tell you more about why that is, but first, let me give you an update today on the progress of your library, because we are making progress, and it is your library. To set the scene, your library is comprised of the headquarters at 3rd and York Street and 17 branch libraries all across the county. We see 10,000 visitors in person every day, and another 10,000 people visit us daily online or by phone. We check out 3.5 million books a year, and we do a whole lot of other things. I'll tell you about some of those. Our library has historically been underfunded, and it still is. We'll get that out of the way first. Every year we benchmark against 16 cities, competitor libraries in the region that have population served about the same size as ours and have within 400 or 500 miles of Louisville. Of those 16 cities, we rank at the bottom every year for the funding provided to the library and the resources available to the public and many other measures. But I have to tell you, we do an awful lot with what you do give us. In recent history, we've had 4 major external forces that have shaped the library as an institution and have created the strategies we operate from. Those 4 things are that hard times hit us hard. In 2000, we had nearly 400 people on staff. But with the recession, our numbers have winnowed down to about 280 now. Second, we suffered a devastating flood at the main library in August of 2009. Some of you may have remembered that we had about $8 million damage. It was the best thing that could have happened to us. At the time, I told people that we planned to repair 200% of the damage, and we will exceed that target. More on that a little later. Third, we face, and this is interesting because most people don't think about the public library as a government entity, but we are a government tax-supported entity. But we face today an anti-government and anti-tax sentiment and a profound disconnect among the public between what services they want from government and what they're willing to pay for. And finally, the biggest influence on the way our services have changed has been that technology presents us with spectacular innovations and opportunities for the delivery of knowledge and information, which is the lifeblood of America's public libraries. So what's been the result of this? Well, the public funding cuts have meant about a 30% reduction in the library's staffing. At the same time, the demand for our service has mushroomed, and the complexity of our offerings has multiplied. So it becomes an intellectual and emotional challenge for all of us every day to advance the library and deliver on its mission. Nothing's ever easy, and we can't take anything for granted. That's why I say I have the best job, because it's constantly a challenge, and it's constantly a lot of fun when you can succeed. Here is the best news if you remember nothing else from today's presentation. People are checking out books and reading them in Louisville, Kentucky. In the last 10 years, as the internet flourishes and Kindles abound, the number of books checked out by Louisvillians from their Louisville Free Public Library is up 200,000 units over 10 years ago. It's a traditional bread and butter service for a public library. It's healthy, it's in demand, it's relied upon by Louisvillians, and it's something we commit to advancing. Next, the library's electronic offerings are exploding. Not literally, but only occasionally. Every single month, people download or stream or otherwise check out 30,000 electronic books, magazines, audiobooks, and music recordings from the library's website. It's like the website has become a virtual branch library and it's turned into the busiest library in the county. The electronic magazines are probably the most fun, and some of you may have seen those. The library offers 160 popular titles, magazines that you can have for free download to a home computer or a laptop or an iPad or another tablet or even to a smartphone. Turns out the single most popular electronic title in Louisville is Consumer Reports. Who knew? But we also have Harvard Business Review, House Beautiful, National Geographic, Road and Track, Smithsonian, Rolling Stone, and 150 others. It's all free with a Louisville Free Public Library card. We've just launched a free music streaming service where we bought a library of 1.3 million musical recordings in jazz and classical music. It's all available free to all of you, streaming through a computer or a laptop or an iPad or a smartphone, free with your library card. Our educational offerings are expanding every day, which is why we just hired Julie Skoski away from the public schools. We help parents prepare their preschoolers to succeed in school. We provide reading and homework support to grade schoolers and high schoolers. We give every school child in the county a special library card that gives free access to all of our books and to all of our electronic resources. That's a Power Plus card, a student library card that has, of course, the library's logo, and on the back it has JCPS's logo and TARC, because you can use this on the buses to wave this and you get half off the bus fare. It also is created with the child's name engraved like on a credit card, and instead of the expiration date, it shows their graduation date from high school. So first graders get their graduation date on their card and they see it from there on. That library card is just a way of giving everybody access. We had originally did it so that all the kids would have access to all the electronic resources, because the contracts we sign with vendors require you be a library card holder to use them. So we distributed them to all the schools, and lo and behold, they used them to check out books. 1,000 books a day sustained over the last 5 years, which has been spectacular for us. We teach high school juniors how to succeed at taking the ACT, and we teach technology and workforce readiness classes to teenagers all over town. Our How-To Festival last May brought 3,000 people to the main library in one day to take instant classes on 75 topics, ranging from raising tomatoes or chickens in your backyard to dancing the tango to getting into a good college. It was all free, and it was all taught by Louisville experts. We have a program called My Library University, where we ask local professors to teach short courses in a night school format for people who want to know what college classes are really like. We did it in support of 55,000 Degrees to help people who were afraid of going to college or had some mental block to getting there. Well, that's what we had planned. That was our design. It turns out that the classes are filling up with people of all ages who just want to learn. There are a lot of people like that in Louisville, and they've filled up our classes on astronomy and literature and botany and the U.S. Constitution. We bring major best-selling authors to Louisville to meet the readers and have a conversation. We've got another one coming next week, but tomorrow the mayor will announce in a press conference at the library that we've installed hearing loop technology to make it possible for people with hearing aids to hear in a crystal clear reproduction of the sound anything that goes on from the microphone in the room. We host an adult literacy center in the main library where JCPS teaches basic literacy, GED preparation, adult education classes, English as a second language, free for all comers. We have 2 job shops in locations at Maine and in Southwest, where the library helps people build basic computing skills and apply for positions online. In case you haven't applied for a job lately, it's all done online. And some people lack the basic online skills to be able to apply for a job. They can get help at the library. The library services are more diverse than ever. Our objective is to offer a varied product line so that we become indispensable for more and more people, and to center it all on one theme, education. But our library buildings need help too. The state of Kentucky has very specific educational standards for public libraries, just as they do for public schools. In libraries, they call them minimum standards for public library adequacy. These standards cover such things as the number of books on the shelf and the amount of space available for study. And if a library fails to meet the standards, then it becomes ineligible for state funds. Louisville's libraries do not meet the basic state standards. We fall especially short on the size of the book collection and the amount of space available in the community. We're seriously underbuilt for our population size. In the rankings comparing us with the other libraries across Kentucky, let alone in the region, we fall deep into the bottom half. So the state provides us a safety valve rather than just cutting us off cold from state funding. They have provided us a loophole. If we publish a master plan for meeting the standards, and if we make continual progress toward its fulfillment, we can apply for state funds. We have such a plan. The Metro Council has adopted it. Thank you, Glenn. And each step we take cements our progress. But we have a long way to go. We have made progress, and let me tell you about a few things. In recovering from the flood at the main library, we replaced all of the building systems all at once because they were all destroyed. So we have new heating, air conditioning, electrical systems, elevators, computer servers, networking equipment, 200 new computers, a new children's library, a new teen library, the likes of which we never had, a new 400-seat auditorium for library programs and events, 5 new classrooms, $1 million in new windows, and a restored limestone facade. We've also just finished a major flood mitigation project with MSD's help to make sure we don't get wet again and to reduce stormwater runoff. We put in underground cisterns, backflow prevention equipment, and pumps and drains that will keep us dry, and it works. So now we're about to re-landscape the main library to make it a beautiful place again, because we tore it up pretty badly with the flood mitigation work. In the branches, we've built a new library in Newburgh, a neighborhood that's never had a library before. We built a new library in Fairdale, where in the past we had just a small space in the community center. We've expanded the Shawnee Library with federal funds, doubling the size of that landmark library that's been serving West Louisville since 1938. We renovated the historic Western branch at 10th and Chestnut and created an African-American Archive Study Center there. And this month, the mayor helped us break ground on a new Southwest Regional Library on Dixie Highway, the first of 3 such super libraries that we hope to build as part of our master plan. 3 major libraries outside the Waterson that will provide stronger library service in the suburbs where, frankly, we have always been lacking. It's all part of the master plan. The regional library will have 40,000 square feet, which is just a number until I tell you that our average branch library is 9,000 square feet. So a 40,000 square foot library is more than 4 times the size of our usual branches. It'll have places for 300 readers, 100 public computers, the largest children's library in the state, and several community meeting rooms and classrooms. I believe it'll be the model for our future libraries. Once people see the new Southwest Regional Library next summer, I think everybody is going to want one. If you do want one, talk to me after. So what does tomorrow's library look like? That's what everybody asks me. What does a public library look like in the 21st century? We're building our future libraries around 5 areas of concentration. First, we'll build out the library's master plan to erase the deficits and provide excellent service. We'll deliver more knowledge through technology. We'll develop more educational offerings. Again, Julie, that's on you. We'll update the public's perception of the library through communication and outreach. And we will encourage the reading of books. Reading in the long form has an impact on your brain and an effect on your understanding that's unmatched by anything that you can do on the web or in the daily newspaper. So what's our secret for keeping going even if we don't meet the state standards? That's easy. It's you. Many of you in this audience are regular donors to the Library Foundation. In fact, this club itself has given several grants to the Library Foundation over the years. The Library Foundation has enabled so much of our transition from yesterday to tomorrow. While government funding generally rewards continuity and punishes risk, donor dollars fund change. Every single program I've talked about today was funded in total or in large part through the Library Foundation and the donors. It has had huge effect on our libraries. From the technology and electronic resources to support for the public schools, all of it supported through the Library Foundation and donors. I can give you a pointed example of how donors fund change at the libraries. Our Iroquois project was launched 10 years ago. So it's 10 years old this year. A grant from the Library Foundation by a local foundation gave it to the Library Foundation. Foundation gave it to the library. It was in 2003. It launched a new service to immigrant families where we went out of the library and found them and helped them understand what an American public library is all about. But it did more than helping those immigrant families. It helped the entire library system see its role in the community differently. It helped us change our focus from operating inside the walls of the library to outside, where people live, where they go to school, where they apply for jobs. That grant from the Library Foundation to the library helped turn the whole library inside out. For that kind of voluntary and generous support to work for a publicly supported institution, the donors have to have certain assurances. Chief among them, that donor dollars will never replace city funding, but will be used to extend what the library can do. After all, funding the operation of the public library is a basic obligation of local government. Donor dollars can take us beyond the basic to something exceptional. The proof is in our new buildings. At Newburgh, Shawnee, and Fairdale, the city's contribution to build those was enough to build good basic public libraries. Libraries would have been functional and useful. The donors to the Library Foundation, who supplemented the city funds on all of those projects, took us way past the basics to create 3 exceptional libraries that we can all be proud of. The same thing is happening today in building the Southwest Regional Library. Donor funds are adding $3.5 million to that project on top of the $9.5 million that the mayor proposed and the council approved. With the help of the donors, we will build the most important community asset outside the Watterson Expressway with exceptional architecture. Better be there, Colin. And a capacity to serve the public far in excess of any library we've ever had in our branch system. Then we'll just need to build 2 more regionals and a few more branches. I'd say let's do that together, shall we? I want to close with something about this sign, this Library Champion Lives Here. If you don't know the story behind that, that's a prize in our children's summer reading program. Kid reads 10 books, they get this sign to put in their front yard, along with a really cool hat and a bunch of other things, and coupons and tickets to U of L games and all kinds of sponsored prizes. But this goes in the front yard. This gives the child something to point to and be proud of. I want to ask all of your help in this, because part of what happens, what can happen, with these signs going up in front yards in your neighborhoods, is children hear from adults that that's really cool. I would ask every one of you, if you see in your neighborhood these signs go up, find the kid who's got the sign, congratulate him, and thank him for reading. We all have an interest in that, the success of their reading skill building. I don't know about you, but I really want the young man who feeds me my medications in the nursing home to be able to read the label on the bottle. Thank you.